Hi there, dear peeps. It's good to be back again. I know I've been away for a long time. I think the last video was about 3 weeks ago. So I've been away on holiday, relaxing, soaking up the sun and drinking too much wine and overeating. So it's good to be back again. Thank you for all the emails that you've sent me in the past 3 weeks and all the phone calls and everyone who's going to take part in the 8-week breakthrough coaching, the new people who have signed up. So it's just, it warms my heart, and I just want to say thank you to all of you for for putting your trust in me, and I truly appreciate that. So today I wanted to just make a short video on how to cope with a narcissist. And this was due to an Instagram message that I got from a viewer. I won't say your name because I don't know if that's what you would appreciate. So I'll just call you anonymous. And the viewer asks, narcissists probably face many complicated challenges in their present lives. It's difficult to cut off someone from my life without feeling hard-hearted or lacking in compassion, especially for those from such troubled backgrounds. What advice would you have for coping in such situations? So thank you for your question. I think it's a very important question, especially when you are still in the relationship or friendship with the narcissist, and you know something's up. You realize that something just does not feel right, that you are feeling drained, you are feeling tired, you feel that you have to walk on eggshells all of the time. This is when you know something is wrong. And I think all of us go through these stages of knowing, but not yet willing to take that step to leave the relationship. So let me just say that, we all face complicated challenges in life, all of us. The difference between someone healthy and someone unhealthy is that the healthy person does not take those challenges in life and use that as an excuse to manipulate others, to abuse others financially, emotionally, mentally, physically. A healthy person does not do that. So I understand where you're saying that a lot of narcissists do come from very bad childhood backgrounds, who have suffered trauma in their childhood. This could or could not be true, but I think it is the same for all of us. All of us at some point in our lives have gone through certain traumas, childhood traumas. We have developed these emotional wounds, and it is up to us as an adult to take responsibility for that emotional pain and to seek out help to get it healed, to heal ourselves, to do the inner work, to apply introspection. That is what a healthy person does. A narcissist, however, this is not their agenda. Their agenda is to go about destroying lives. So the very fact that you ask yourself the question, how do I cope with this? It makes me feel hard-hearted. It makes me feel like I lack compassion for the other person. These are great traits that you have, where you feel that you are not giving enough to the other person. You're not being compassionate enough. Great, wonderful traits, but do not let those traits put you in a position of having your power taken away from you. Because when you realize, when you become aware of the fact that you are being abused, whether that is mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, it is abuse. Abuse is abuse. So we all have the responsibility to take the steps needed to be taken in order to free ourselves, to remove ourselves from any toxic situation. It is not your job to allow yourself to be taken down. It just isn't. And do not allow yourself to be taken down simply because you know that the abuser in your life is facing challenges. We all face challenges, every single one of us, sometimes months, years on end. That does not give us the right to abuse another. So for the viewer who wrote the question, if you are looking if you feel that you have a lack of compassion for the abuser in your life, turn that compassion around, give it to yourself, because you are responsible for your behavior, for your energy, for what you say. You are responsible for that. The only job that you have is to take responsibility for your own actions. You cannot take responsibility for someone else's actions. So, I think I had spoken of this before in previous videos, where it is what a codependent, what an empath tends to do is to try and control the abuser in their life by trying to make them see their point of view, trying to give more understanding to the abuser, to use the excuse that they went through a bad childhood is, even if it is true, it is not your responsibility to heal that in someone else. The only responsibility you have is towards yourself, is towards protecting your own peace of mind, protecting your life, protecting your belongings, protecting your heart, your spirit. That is the only responsibility you have. So when you feel that a toxic person, and you will feel it at some point, that they are bringing your energy levels way down, you are not responsible for that. You just need to remove yourself from that situation, of course, if it is possible. And, when you are in a toxic interaction with someone whom you cannot go no contact with, because as you all know, I'm an advocate for no contact. If you are being abused, if you are feeling unworthy, if you are feeling less confident, if you are walking on eggshells, if you have to tolerate so much abuse, then you have to go no contact. As I said, I'm a huge advocate for that. But I do understand that there are some situations, it could be in the workplace, it could be a family member that you have to interact with at some point or other. So if you are in a situation where you cannot just go no contact, then it is very important that you learn to set boundaries, learn to say no. So, for example, if the abuser in the workplace has a very nasty way of speaking to you, you can set a boundary by saying, if you continue to speak to me in that tone of voice, I refuse to communicate with you. I will leave the office. I will leave the room. And when you have calmed down, then I will come back and we can have a grown-up conversation. So that is just a small example of how you can set your boundary. It is your right to set boundaries to protect your own peace. This is a question that also comes up very often, where people do ask, I'm married to a narcissistic person. My brother's a narcissist, my sister's a narcissist, whatever the case may be. How do I interact with them? Well, the only effective way of communication with a narcissist is by praising them, is by refusing to contradict them. So you're always praising, you're always giving admiration, you are always agreeing with them, you are always listening to them, you are pretending that you're interested in what they have to say. That is the way that you can effectively communicate with a narcissist, for the narcissist. It's only effective for them. But for you, of course, it may work 1, 2, 3 times, where you just give in to them all the time. But it will get to the point where your energy levels start to drop, where you know what abuse feels like when you're going through, when you are going through it. It is the most terrible feeling. So I do not understand how someone can stay in these relationships way much longer than you're supposed to. And I do understand, you know, all the trauma bonding comes into that, the way you have been conditioned, of course, that all plays into it. But when you become aware and you know what you are dealing with a narcissist, again, you need to take every measure to leave that relationship. It could take you longer, of course, because, I mean, you know, we don't just want to throw away relationships. We want to maintain them. We want to correct the errors in the relationship. Again, with a narcissist, this is just not possible. So the only way to effectively communicate is by agreeing with them. That is the only way to do it. Because the moment that, let me put it this way, narcissism is an identity. It is an identity. So when you point out the narcissist's bad traits, or when you call them out on their behavior, do not make the mistake of thinking that they will then go about correcting their behavior or apologizing to you. This is not what a narcissist does. This is not their identity. Their identity is to deny whatever they have done wrong. Their identity is not to apologize. Their identity is to destroy you. That is what a narcissist does. So stop falling into it. Stop falling into that trap of thinking, if I just show them more compassion, they'll understand me more, or they'll be more loving or kinder towards me. Maybe they will apologize at some point. No, it's not going to happen. Because the only thing that will happen when you show the narcissist their true identity, when you call them out, when you complain about things that are happening in the relationship, you will be met with hatred. They despise you. They hate you for calling them out on bad behavior. So a narcissist is very vindictive. You can be sure that the moment you start to call them out, that is the moment that their hatred towards you is taken to a totally different level, and they will do everything in their power to bring you down even more because they are very vindictive. So there is really no way to cope with a narcissist. There are only certain situations, as I just explained, in the workplace or a certain family member, where you just have to interact with this person. Then I would say the only the strongest thing you can do is by setting boundaries. But the best way to cope with a narcissist is to go no contact. So I hope that answered your question, anonymous viewer. Thank you for sending it in. And again, great to be back again on the screen. And I have a whole list of new videos that I'm going to be putting on. I feel refreshed from the holidays, so I've got more energy to just go ahead and make new ones. So thank you again for tuning in. Have a great Sunday. Love and light to all of you, and just keep believing and trusting in yourself. Speak to you all next time. Bye now.